Hello everyone, welcome back for another lecture for the series of SQL for beginners. Today we're going to talk about something that a lot of people who wants to learn SQL actually struggle with this concept, which is how to manipulate dates and how to use date functions. So today we're going to talk about date functions and manipulation. And here basically as we do in every video, we have a guideline to follow. So here we will talk about the date format that it's used in the database or the Oracle server, and also we will talk about how to manipulate the date format using other valid formats. We're going to talk about operations can be done with dates, and then we're going to talk about date functions one by one. By the way, this is like a list of the most, let's say, used functions, but of course there's another functions, but if I want to cover all the functions, that needs another video by itself. And then also we will talk about conversion functions, how to convert a date to a character, how to convert a date to a number, and then how to convert a string to a date. Okay, so now first of all we need to talk about the date format, or what kind of format that it's been used in the database. So in this case we need to find a kind of data that it's represented as a date. So if I go to academic here, and if I go to student details, right, I have here what student registration year. Okay, and this data right here, it is a date. Okay, by the way, again, as I said in the previous videos, this is like a live SQL website. It's free to use, and it has already some databases and some table inside, so you can use to practice. And I'll give the link below in the description. And also to follow up with whatever we're gonna talk about today, maybe you have to check from the beginning lecture 1 and lecture 2. And also I will leave a link in the description for the whole playlist where you can go from the beginning and see where we are at. So now we said that we're gonna use what? We're gonna use from the academic database, we're gonna use student registration year, which is here a date, right? So if I select the student registration year from the academic database using AD underscore student underscore details, this is the name of the table. So if I click run here, I will see here all the dates where the students have been enrolled in the university or in the school or whatever. To make the data looks better, maybe I can use here first name as well. So when I click here, you can see here the name of the student and where and when exactly the date where they got registered. So you can see right here. So basically you can realize that the dates are stored in a similar format, right? So if I take this date right here and put it here in my notes, so I can tell you exactly what is the data format used. So here you can understand, we can understand here that we have a day, then we have a month, and then we have a year. Okay, and all this information is separated by dashes, right? So what is the format for the day right here is DD, okay, because it's a double-digit number. And I will also explain different formats, because here in the second point I want to also explain how to manipulate data format using other valid formats. So basically I will teach you also what is DD, what is triple D, and what is other format means, right? So January here, you can see that this month is January, and you can see that it's abbreviated to only three letters. So you can see here that the date format for it is MON. Then we have here the year as a 2-digit number, which is the last 2 digits, which is basically YY. All right. Now, if I want to talk about the other valid format, so let's say here other valid format for the day. I will talk about each information separately. I will talk about the valid format for the day, valid format for the month, and also the valid format for the year. So the day can have 4 or 5 different formats. You can represent it as D or DD or triple D or day. So what is the difference between all these? So the single D means the number of the day in the week. The number of the day in the week. So what does that supposed to mean? So let's say for today where I'm recording, it's Thursday, right? Thursday in the Oracle server or in the Oracle database is represented as 5. We understand that in the week, let me type it right here, we have 7 days in the week, okay? The week in the Oracle database starts from Sunday. So here starts from Sunday. So Sunday will be equal to 1. And that basically goes respectively. Sunday is 1, Monday is 2, Tuesday is 3, Wednesday is 4, and so far so forth. We can understand that using today's date, today is a Thursday. So in today's day right here, which is, you can see, is 13th of July. So we can say right here that we have 13 July 23. And as you can see, I used the format, the same format that is used in the database. So the number of the day in the week, that will give us what? 5. Because using this date, we know that today is Thursday, okay? And here, double D will give you what? The number of the day in the month, okay? And this is basically what we have in this case, what we have in this case. So 1 here, basically it's the 1st of July, which is the first day of July. And that's why when you represent it as DD, it will give you the number of the day in the month, okay? In this case, the number of the day in the month for today is 13, right? Next is DDD, which is the number of the day in the year, okay? So the number of the day of the year, we have to keep in mind that we have what? We have 365 days in the year, okay? So basically, when you use the format as triple D, that will give you the number of the day in the year. So today is 13th of July, right? We know that the year will end by the last day of December. So there is like 5 months ahead. So taking that in consideration, if we see the number of the day in the week, it will give us like, for the sake of example, let's say today is, let's say, the day 126 in the current year, which is 2023. So until this reaches the end of December, which is the last day of December, so the day will finish, this will give you what? 365. All right. So now, by the way, this number is not, maybe it's not accurate, it's just for the sake of example. So here, when I use the number of the day in the week, that based on 7 days in the week, starts from Sunday as 1. So today is Thursday, so it will give me 5. So it starts with Sunday 1 until Saturday. Saturday will be what? 7, all right? Number of the day in the month, that is 13. Then the number of the day in the year, let's say 126 out of 365, right? Then here we have the day, which is basically the alphabetic representation of the day. Today is what? Is 13, so you can say here that it is 13, okay? It will be written in letters, right? Now, if I want to use other valid format for the month, let's say here, month. The other valid format for the month, we have either MM, MON, or month. So MM or double M, as it will give us the number of the month in a 2-digit format. So if I today we have July, so it will give us what? 07. Okay. Then MON, it will give us what? The name of the month, but it's abbreviated to the first 3 letters. And month here, it will give us what? July. All right, like that. Now, if I want to use other valid format of the year, it has either single Y, double Y, triple Y, or 4 Ys, or you have here year. Okay, so this right here, this Y, it will give you what? The last digit of the year. The last digit to now is 2023, so the last digits will be what? The last digit will be 3. Here it will give you YY, it will give you the last 2 digits. So that's why we have here in our example, which is today's date, as you can see here, based on the format that is stored in the database, we have only 2 digits of the year. So here, this will give us 23. Then again, respectively, this will give us the last 3 digits. So here we have 023, and this right here will give us the full digits for the year. So here 4 digits, and that will give us like 2023. And then in the year, in this format, the year will be written in details. It will be something like 2023, or let's say there is no and here, so 2023. Okay, so these are the formats that can be used here in order to give you a different insight of what kind of format that you can use in the day. So if I do something like this, let's say we have the normal format that is stored in the database is dd-mon-yyyy, right? So if I want to change this to, let me take here a random format from these 3. So let's say we have day, then we have here, let's say I will take mm, and let's say here I will take YYY. Okay, so using this format, what will be the output for me? Day, what is the day today? Is 13, right? I'm sorry, the day here is not gonna give you the number of the day, which is like 13. That will give you the actual day of the week. That will give you the actual day of the week, which is, today is what? Today is Thursday, so that will give you Thursday, right? So here it will give you Thursday dash mm, which is 07 as July, then YYY, which is 023. That will be your date now using this format if you take a combination of different valid formats from here. I hope that makes sense. So now with having knowledge of the date format, now you can actually understand how it gets manipulated. All right. So first of all, we will talk about operations with a date. If you add a number to a date, basically here what you are doing, you are adding number of days. You are adding a number of days. So basically here in our example, we displayed the first name and we displayed the student registration year, right? Which is here, starts from 1st of January, 1st of September, 1st of March, 1st of April, whatsoever, right? If I added a number to this year, what will happen? So here, let me have, again, student reg year, and I will add, for example, 12. So I want to add 12 to the date. What that's supposed to mean? That means that you are adding number of days. So let's see if I run it here. Run again. Yes. As you can see, here you have the student registration year by default, okay, which is the default value. And here you have again the same date, but you are adding 12 here. So automatically it will add 12 days. So instead of 1st of January, you get what? 13th of January. And so far, so forth. Same thing if you want to have a subtraction, let's say minus 10. Here we have the original date is 1st of January, minus 10 days, that will bring us back to December, okay? That will bring us back to December. So if I run it, as you can see, you have the date minus 10, that means minus 10 days. So the 1st of January minus 10 days will give us 22nd of December. Here 22nd of August. Here 19th of February. Here let's say 22nd of March. So far so forth, all right? So basically if you add a number or you subtract a number to a date, that means you are adding a number of days or subtracting number of days. All right, now when you have an operation between two dates, okay, you have an operation between two dates, that means you are calculating the number of days between these two days, right? These two dates. So now if I want to, let's say, use the student registration year, so basically I need to have what? Two dates. I already have one date here, which is the student registration year, these dates right here, but I want to subtract them to another date, okay? I want to subtract them with another date. Let's use sysdate, which is system date right here. So today's date, okay? Because as a normal subtraction, let's say here, as a normal subtraction, let's say you do something like 10 minus 5, right? 10 minus 5 will give us 5, right? You have to understand something, that always the bigger number will be at the beginning, right? Otherwise, if we do 5 minus 10, that will give us minus 5. That will give us a negative number. What I'm trying to explain here, that when you subtract two dates, you have to make sure that the most recent date will be in the beginning. So the most recent date should be the first one, okay? So if I'm using student registration year, which is can be 1st of January 2014, 1st of September 2014, and I'm also gonna use what? Sys date or system date. Sys date, that means the date of today, right? Is it correct having it like that? Student registration year minus sys date. If I run it this way, that will give us what? Minus numbers. Why? Because the sys date, which is the date of today, it is the most recent one. So basically, the right way to do so is to have the system date at the beginning, because it's the most recent one, which is the same, that applies to the same example right here, 10 minus 5. So that will give us the number of the days, in positive, right? As you can see right here. So the number of days between the date of today and the student registration year, which is this date right here, is 3,480 years, okay? And you can see that we have a fraction. You can see right here, we have a long fraction. Does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense when you talk about a date, because you cannot say 0.6 day, okay? So basically you want to eliminate this fraction right here, and based on the last lecture, we understand how you can use number functions to eliminate this kind of result, which is, we used what? Truncate, right? So we can use the truncate function. Inside the brackets, we have the operation where we want to subtract two dates from another, right? So now the result that will the result that will come out from this operation will be truncated using the trunc function, okay? So if I run, now I can have a better output, okay? Now I can have a better output. Again, you can go back and watch lecture 2 so you can understand how we used the number function right here. All right, I hope that makes sense. So when you subtract 2 days from each other, it will give you the number of days between them. Can I manipulate this to give us the number of weeks? So this right here is what? Number of days. Can I manipulate it to give us the number of weeks? I can have another column right here, and let me, instead of going this way, I can have it in a new line. All right, and instead of number of days, I will have what? Number of weeks. So here I want to display what? Number of weeks. We already understand that using the truncate function, and inside we have this operation, it will give us what? The number of days, okay? But if I want to have the number of weeks, I already have the number of days. If I want to get the number of weeks, that means what? I need to divide the number of days by 7 to give us the number of weeks. So here I can have another bracket inside. So the result that will happen from this operation, it will be divided by 7. And after I divide the number of days by 7, it will give us a fraction too, because if I leave it like that without the truncate function and click run, that will give us the number of weeks. But also we need this fraction, right? So again, we have to use truncate. Okay, like so. All right. So now we get the result from the subtraction. Then we take that result, we divide it by 7, we get the number of weeks, but we get a fraction variable or a fraction output. So we need to truncate it to give us a proper result like that, okay? I hope that makes sense. And basically, based from mathematics, in mathematics, you know that anything in brackets will be done first. So we have a bracket inside. This is what will be done first, the subtraction. Then we have a division by 7, it will be done. Then the other brackets will work, which is basically related to the truncate function, okay? This is here the number of weeks. Can we get the number of months? Again, since we have right here the number of days, or let me do it like this in a new line instead of having it here, yep, this right here will be number of months. Okay, so the number of months, we know that the operation inside the truncate, the subtraction operation, will give us the number of days. The number of days, if you divide it by 30, it will give you what? The number of months. So here we can understand, here we have what? Number of months. So now you can understand that the number of days between today's date and the student registration year is this number of days, then this number of weeks between the two dates, then here this number of months between the 2 months, between the today's date and the student registration year. By the way, again, I will refer to the previous lecture because I talked about how to add alias, right, in order to change the column header. Okay, so this right here, how to manipulate two dates and get the information and then get more specified information. You break it down to number of days, number of weeks, and number of months. All right, I hope that made sense. Now, moving on, we will talk now about date functions. So in the previous example, we actually got the number of months using this long operation, right? But also we have a ready function that we can use, which is what? Months between. Okay, so now if I use this in my select right here, months months underscore between, this function right here has two parameters, which is, again, can be understandable that these two parameters will have the two dates that you want to compare and you want to get the months between them. Again, in the subtraction, what did we do? We had the most recent date in the first parameter, right? So basically months between will have also the most recent date first, which is the system date, and then we can get the other date that we want to compare with, which is student registration year, right? So this right here, it will give us the number of months. So here, number of months. If I run, as you can see, it gives us right here the number of months using the function instead of using the other operation. But again, we have the same problem with having fractions with a number of months, which is illogical. So we will have a truncate function outside, like so. Okay, so the months between function will work first, then the result that we will get from the months between function, it will get truncated. The result will get truncated. So now if I run again, I can get the number of months normally. Okay, that's another way of doing it. Next function, we have what? Add months. So basically right here, let me just delete this one. We have what? Add underscore months. Also, this function has two parameters. The first parameter will use what? The date that you want to manipulate. The date that I want to manipulate is basically student registration year. So I can have here student registration year. And the second parameter is basically the function called what? Add months. So by name, we need to add months to our date. Okay, so if I add, for example, 4 months, okay, and I click run, now I can see 1st of January, after I add 4 months to it, it will give me what? 1st of May. 1st of September, if I add 4 months, it will actually go to next year, right? 1st of January 2015 instead of 2014. April 2014, adding 4, it will give us 1st of August 2015, and like so. All right, it's very simple. This function has two parameters: the date that you want to manipulate and also the number of months that you want to add, right? That's straight to the point. Next day, it will give you the date of the next day of the week that you want to specify, which is, let me have it right here and show you how that will be done. Next day again will have two parameters. The first parameter is the date that you want to, or the attribute that you want to manipulate, which is student underscore registration underscore year. And then here it will give you the date of, so okay, let me break this down. Here in a string, that means you will have a string, double quotes, and inside this string you have to give a specific day. That means Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all right? So let's say if I have here Monday, okay? So what the function will do, it will give you the date of next Monday based on this date. So it will take this date right here, which is 1st of January 2014, and it will give you the date of next Monday within this year, like after the 1st of January. After the 1st of January, it will give you the date of the next Monday. So here, let me change the column to be next Monday, right? And I will click run. So this is a student registration year, which is 1st of January 2014. The date of next Monday after this date will be what? 6th of January 2014. If I do this again, and I want to have this time Friday, and also change the alias here to be Friday, and click run. I forgot to separate these two by column. So now you can see that this is the date that I want to manipulate. The next Monday after this date, it will be 6th of January, and the next Friday after this date will be the 3rd of January. Okay, so also you can assume that if next Friday is 3rd and my current date is 1st, so I can understand that this 1st of January is a Wednesday, right? Because if I take the Friday and go 2 days backwards, it will give us what? 1st of January, which will be a Wednesday. Okay, anyways, this is how you get the date of the next day based on a specific day that you have to specify in the second parameter of the function, based on a specific date that you want to manipulate right here. Okay, now going to last day. So last day function, let me use it here. Last day function, also it will take only one parameter, which is the date that you want to manipulate. So here we have student underscore registration underscore year. This is the date that we want to use, which is this one, right? This will give us the last day, the date of the last day of the month based on the date. So if this one is January, the last day function, it will give us the last day of January, the last day of September, the last day of March, the last day of April, okay, based on the date that I want to, based on the information related to the attribute that I want to manipulate. All right, so and also from the examples given, you can see that the date functions, it will only accept date attributes in order to be manipulated. And as you can see, so they are named date function for a reason. So if you click run here, it will tell you here that The current student registration year is 1st of January, and the last day in this particular month is 31st. The last day in September here is 30 September. Last day of March, 31st of March. Last day of June is 30 June. So far, so forth, alright? Alright, so these are the, okay, we still have like extract. Let me see here. Extract is used to extract a specific information from the dates, because in the date here is not representing one information, is representing three different information, which is the day, month, and year, right? Let's say that I don't want the whole date, I want to extract only the year. So how can I extract only the year? So I can use here extract function, and I can say here select year from student rig year, something like that. Missing expression, should I do it like that? Yeah. So extract function, you have to specify what do you want to extract exactly from the date that you want to manipulate or that you want to extract the data from. I want to use this date right here, and I want to extract the year. So if I extract the year, let's say here only year. So from the date I will have only the year, as you can see, 2014, 15, 13, 16. All right, this is how you extract an information. Let me try it also with month, see what happened. As you can see, we extracted the month, but you can see here we didn't extract the month as a string, we extracted the month as a number. So January 1, September 9, March 3, April 4, June 6, so far so forth, right? And also we can try this with extracting a day, and you can see it's all one because all the registration dates, it's the first of the month, right? I hope that makes sense. This is like a list of the most useful functions in date functions. I don't want to go further than that because the video will be extremely long. Now we're gonna move to conversion functions, how you can convert from a date format to another. So here you will convert from a date to string or to a character. Then here you will convert date to a number. Actually, to be honest, I can eliminate this one right here. It's actually not important, you're not gonna use it at all. Here you can what? Convert a string, convert from a string to date. All right, so these are the most important ones. Let's talk about those. So if you want to convert from a date to a string, which is also you manipulate the display of a date in a specific manner, let me do it like so. Let's say that I want to display, let me think of a good example that can be shown here. If I use the toCar function, toCar function has two different parameters, right? The first parameter, of course, is the date that you want to manipulate, which is student underscore rig underscore year. And then the second parameter will be a format of a date that you want to specify. And we here talked about date formats, as you remember from the beginning of the lecture. We talked about different date formats for the day, different formats for the month, and different formats for the year. So right here, what we're gonna do is manipulate the format of the year. Let's say that I don't want to display the date in this format. I want to display it in another format. Let's say here I want to display it as a day slash instead of dash, and let's say I want to have mm, and also I want to have, let's say, y. So now every registration date right here, the format of it will be changed from the default format of the database, which is dd-mon-yy, which is right here. It will be converted to this date format. So if I run it, as you can see, I did triple Y's. I need 4 Y's. As you can see, 1st of January, it's a Wednesday because I used here day, which, as I explained, it's the actual day of the week, right? It will give us a Wednesday. Then slash which is, instead of having the month abbreviated to 3 letters, I will have it in a number format as 2 digits, as you can see here. And then we have the year as 4 digits instead of the last 2 digits. All right, and you can see here how the format is changing. But you have to understand, we are converting the date into a string. So this date right here is a date format, is in a date format, and this date right here is in a string format. Let me run again. So this is a date format, and this is a string format. This is not a date, okay? I just took the date and I manipulated the format, and I changed the format and I made it as a string. So when this piece of data will be stored in the database, it will be stored as a string, not as a date, okay? I hope that made sense. Then we have the next one, which is toDate, which is basically converting a date from a string to date. Let's say here, in order to do so, I will do a different date. Let's say here I have 19 dash let's say March dash 2022, something like that. All right, this right here is what is a string, right? It's a date, but it's a string format, okay? It's a string data type, is not a date data type. But as I can see here, this string follows, let me have it like this. This string right here follows the default data type, as you can see. Oops. dd, which is right here. Then we have mon, which is right here. Then we have yy, which is right here. I can tell that this is the default format where the data is stored in the database. But it's a string, is not a date. So I want to convert it now to a date format. So as you can see here, this is string data type, and I want to convert it to date data type. So I can use what? toDate. This toDate right here, it has 2 parameters, okay? The first parameter is actually the string that you want to convert, which is right here. Take it this way. And then the second parameter will have the actual format that you want to convert this to, which is basically, it is the default date format, which is mm-mon-yy, as we explained here in the beginning. Okay, so now basically you are converting this from a string, you are converting it to an actual date. So this right here will be date data type. All right, and let me click run. Keyword not found where expected, of course, because I didn't select it from dual. What is dual table? Again, I will refer to the previous lecture, lecture number 2. We talked about dual table, which can be used whenever I enter new data from the keyboard, because this date right here, I just made it up from the keyboard, is not stored in any database or any table. So this is where you use the predefined table, which is dual table, in order to assist you to manipulate this kind of data that's entered from the keyboard. So if I run, excuse me, MON year, this right here is a format, no? Let me try single quote. Here, let me try single quotes as well. We have a string, then we have this, to date, this guy and this guy. So we have here date data type. This is correct, I suppose. Convert from a string to a date. Yeah, that's correct. Then here to date MON YY. So let me do this. And let me have here YYY. Invalid identifier. Oh, okay. Let me do this. Month may only be specified once. Okay, now I see. Now I see. Now I see what I did wrong here. So what I did wrong here, guys, that in the format right here, what did I do? Instead of having DD, I'm having what? MON, and then. So here it's like, this is very silly mistake, because here I identified 2 months, which is cannot be possible. Here we have only DD, which is day, represent 19, MON, which is representing the month, and then YY, which is representing the year. It's all right. So as you can see, guys, debugging the errors is part of coding in any programming language, and also in database. Sometimes you have some silly errors for some silly mistakes. Now if I run, oh my god, what is going on? To date, then we have here, we have DD. I think it's not, okay, let me change this to single quotes. I think because the double quotes are only for alias, and then the single quotes are for the strings. Okay, if I run, yeah, now it works finally. So here you have the string, and here you have what? The date data type. Okay, so as you can see, the value is same, but the data type is not same. This is a string, and this is a date. All right, I hope everything here made sense. This is, by the way, it's just for beginners. All that is just for you as a beginning to go through SQL with using dates and manipulation of the dates. So I hope that was useful, and please, if you found this video useful, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a subscribe, help us grow, and help this video reach many people. And I will see you in the next lecture. Have a nice day.